Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another 2024 election prediction. This one will be between Ted Cruz and Cory Booker. So, obviously, I am trying to mix it up a bit, mix up the people in the election predictions. This time it'll be Ted Cruz and Cory Booker. Cory Booker, obviously, having his first appearance in an election prediction video. I'm going to be continuing to be making 2024 election prediction videos as we head throughout the summer and into the next, and into what I call the school year. Um, and I'll be coming out with more 2022 election predictions. We're almost a year away from it. I guess a year and about 4 months away from the 2022 election, midterm elections, and those are obviously going to be important. I haven't really covered the New York mayoral or Virginia governor elections just because they don't interest me too much. I may cover the mayoral election after all the results are back, just taking a look at um, which type of candidate won. Either it's Eric Adams or Garcia. I think it's Catherine Garcia going into that. But I'm not really going to spend too much time on that in my mind. I really just want to focus on 2024, 2022, and maybe a few other things. Because those are the things that interest me the most, and I know that those are the things that interest everyone else the most, because those are the things that have the highest stakes, and everybody always likes to take a look at that. So, these are two potential nominees for the Democrats and Republicans in 2024. Ted Cruz could win potentially. This obviously would mean Trump win and run in the Republican primary, and Ted Cruz would somehow have to overcome DeSantis and maybe Christie Noem, but it is a doable thing. Ted Cruz could do it. He is still popular within the Republican base. He came in second in 2016, and he does have the potential. And same with Cory Booker. He's one of what I call the three, and I would say these are the three most prominent Democrats to possibly get the 2024 nomination. It's either, in my mind, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, or Pete Buttigieg at the moment. Obviously, there are more people to come. I don't think AOC will run in 2024, but I do think that there could be newer people and newer candidates, but at the moment, those are the top three in my mind, and that's just because I don't think Joe Biden will run. So anyway, let's get right to the prediction. As I always say at the beginning of the videos, I'm not going to be stressing out about the specific margins between California and Oregon, although Oregon in reality is a much closer state, but it'll go to Joe Biden. Same with Republican states. I'm really not going to be looking at the difference between Wyoming and South Carolina. But because in both of those states will go to their respective parties pretty solidly anyway. So they will all be safe. Same with Alaska. Let's go through Nebraska. Obviously not the second district. And we're going to finish it off. And I think that that's everything. Unless I'm missing it. Yep, that's everything. And obviously this is the updated 2024 map that everybody likes. And I'm actually gonna make Colorado safe, and I'm gonna make Maine second safe. If Cruz runs, I think Maine second is going more to the right, and I don't think Cory Booker will do well, especially in Maine. Maybe in New Hampshire, but really not. I do think he'll have a suburban appeal. I don't think Ted Cruz has a good suburban appeal, but we'll get to that anyway. Let's get to likely states. That'll be New Mexico and Virginia for Booker. And yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna say it'll be less than 5% if the Democrats win in Minnesota. And, that's pretty expected. A lot of these states have been narrowing up as these states in the Rust Belt move more towards the right, and the states in the South move more towards the left. They were solid in their respective categories, say, 10, 20 years ago, but they have had a major shift to the Republicans and the Democrats in each of their states. Anyway, let's go to likely Republicans. That'll be Iowa, Ohio, and that will be all of them. So Iowa, Ohio, those I still believe will go to Cruz if he runs there by 6, 7, 8, 9, whoever around that 6 to 9 points, which is in the likely margins. Likely is from 5 to 10%. Solids 10 to infinity, or 10 to 100, I guess. And then leans is 1 to 5, and tilt is 0.1 or 0 to 1. And I do think Cruz will still do well, especially if Trump's campaigning for him, and I think that Trump will be if Trump decides not to run, and he'll probably be making an endorsement. And if he endorses Cruz, then that'll be how it is. Anyway, let's get to the lean states, because these are my favorite, obviously. Minnesota will still lead. I'll say that Booker will win it by around 3, possibly 4%, but probably 3, as it is shifting more to the right as we go through each election. Trump lost it by 1.5 in 2016, which is why I expected it to be much closer in 2020. However, Biden still won it by about, I think, 7 points. It went back up, as did the Rust Belt, shifted back in the other direction. But I do think it is more. It is a slight shift back in 2020, but it will still continue its continuation into further elections as moving more to the right. So 3-4 points, 2024, in my mind, seems pretty accurate. Also, Nevada. This is just a state that is always going to be close, but it always has a higher proportion of Democrats to Republicans. I always like to say that, but that's true. That's the same scenario with Florida and North Carolina. You will get a Republican winning in Nevada or a Democrat winning in North Carolina. Obviously, um, there's a Democrat governor in North Carolina, and there was a Republican senator in Nevada just about 3 years ago. So that will happen, but most of the time, since there's a high proportion of registered Democrats in Nevada to Republicans, they will slightly edge it out, usually in a leans or tilt scenario. Same with North Carolina. And I'm going to do Maine at large. Even though Cory Booker, I don't think, will be particularly popular in the Northeast, I still think he'll carry Maine at large by at least a lean margin. Leans Republicans will be North Carolina, Florida, Texas. All be lean Republican states in my mind. Uh, North Carolina and Florida, similar to Nevada, in their proportions, have a higher proportion of Republicans to Democrats. And obviously, with Texas, it is still shifting more to the left as we head into 2024. But I still think Cruz could win it by a lean margin, probably maybe 3 points, 3-4 points. Uh, I don't see it shifting incredibly to the left as Georgia did in 2020. But it will continue to shift. But Cruz will still hang on to it by about 3 to 4 points. Not panic mode yet for Republicans, but starting to get there. Okay, so I think the rest of the tilt. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave New Hampshire up for tilt and the rest of them up for tilt. I still think. Yeah. Okay. I'm not even gonna say anything else. So let's get to tilt states. I'm gonna have New Hampshire be tilt. I think that Cory Booker just isn't gonna be too popular in New Hampshire. I think he's more of a urban appeal and more of a suburban appeal, not with New Hampshire. And I know that there's some suburbs in New Hampshire, but it is a more spread out area, more rural area. Um, and I just don't know if Cory will have that popularity. Obviously, Cruz isn't the most popular there either. Cruz isn't. Cruz's appeal is really just conservatives, which isn't the best for him. But it doesn't really matter at this point in the country, given the polarization. And the personalities do have some significance with suburban or rural voters, but I still think Cory will hold on just because New Hampshire is Democrat state. Although you look at their actual state government and governor, it is Republican, so it's a bit of a confusing state. They tend to vote split ticket voting, with the state governments being Republican and federal government being Democrat. I still think, continue with the split ticket voting history. Cory Booker will win New Hampshire, but not really much to talk about. He'll also win Nevada second, same with the suburban appeal. I think he'll tilt that, maybe. I guess it could be leans, but I'll just put it at tilt for now. I don't really want to go into that, and not really much to go into. I think he'll win Georgia. I think he'll drive up black support and drive black turnout in Georgia. I think that black people come out for him just like they came out for Joe Biden, and I think that he'll win by maybe 0.5%, 0.7, 0.8. I don't think Georgia will now be going 2, 3, 4 points, 5 points to the Democrats in just 2 election cycles, but Cory will win Georgia, as Biden did. Let's go to a few Republican tilt states. I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Biden won that by about 0.5%, I think 0.53% in 2020, and it has been shifting more and more to the Republicans. Trump won it by 0.7, I believe, in 2016. Then it tilted back to Biden to 0.5, and I think it will tilt back to Ted Cruz in 2024. And that's just because the shifts of Wisconsin, if Trump's campaigning, and he probably will be, and I just think Wisconsin will shift back to Cruz. So let's give Booker. I'm going to say that Booker's going to win Arizona. I just don't think Cruz has a good appeal in Arizona. He really doesn't have the best nationwide appeal than other candidates like Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and other ones that, Mike Pompeo. And Cruz just doesn't have that. Cruz, I think, comes across a bit fake and a bit, forced in the way he says things. And I just don't think that will bode well, especially with people in the the South in Arizona. And I just don't see him winning. So I still see it going tilt to Booker, and essentially about the same margins as it did with Biden, maybe a little bit more, zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6, but nothing really specific. So we're down to the final two states, Michigan and Pennsylvania, and these states will decide the election. And all the election predictions that I've made have been so close, and that's honestly been because the country's so polarized, and it's always going to be close. I mean, the Electoral College in 2020 was very, very close when you look at the margins. If Trump won by a total of about 1% margin, you add up what he needed in Wisconsin and Georgia and Arizona by each 0.2, 0.3%, it adds up to about 1%. And if he got that 1%, he would be the president right now. So it's very, very polarized, and it was a very, very close election then. And I see it being a very, very close election now and going into 2024. So obviously, don't be upset. I'm not trying to get more views from the video. I'm just trying to do my best to explain what I'm seeing in the country. So let's start off with, actually, let's start off with Pennsylvania. Because Michigan, let's start off with Pennsylvania. I think that Pennsylvania is going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a tough one for Cruz and for Booker. Booker, because a lot of the white industrial workers and black industrial workers will come out against Booker. Obviously, in his environmental policies, he's against many things of oil drilling and coal mining, and not oil drilling, not in Pennsylvania, but coal mining and fracking. And I don't think that will help him well. While with Cruz, or with Booker and his advantage, there is in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh, there will be increased black turnout, and that could drive Booker to a win in Pennsylvania if that does happen. And if that does happen, then it will be good for Booker. But it is really all determinative on that. So at the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Pennsylvania to Booker, which will give him the presidency over Cruz, just because I think that Cruz just doesn't have the personality. He doesn't have the enthusiasm for people to come out and vote for him in Pennsylvania just because of a fracking policy. And Booker does. He has the charisma with the black community to come out and vote. And same reasons in Michigan, and Michigan's more to the left than Pennsylvania, so Booker will also win Michigan. Giving him the election, 293, 245. Still a very close election, slightly closer than in 2020. And Booker will be the president for 4 years until 2029. So, there you go. This is what the electoral map, the new and improved electoral map with one slight change in one state, will look like. 293, 245, Cruz loses, Booker wins. President Booker, Cory Booker, in my mind, would beat Ted Cruz in a 2024 election prediction. If you disagree with any of the calls I made, please make sure to let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. I always try to get back to people in the comments, so please let me know, and stay tuned for more videos. Please make sure to subscribe as well. I'm trying to get the YouTube channel to above 100 subscribers by the end of the summer, if that's possible, and that'd be awesome if it is. So I'm very excited, very enthused as we head into the summer and farther into the summer, obviously getting towards the middle in July. So stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for being here. Subscribe, like the video, comment, do whatever you need to do. Have a great day, and stay tuned for more great election prediction videos. Thank you all for being here, and have a great day.